I want to transition because we're on a little bit of a burner here with the coaches, and again being over his head. You commented this is kind of where this sparked from. You keep saying Billy's over his head, and there is some Florida fans that feel that way. The Sunbelt Billy has now made it away from from Georgia. It's started to trickle down like a virus, and it seems to have landed here in Gainesville, Florida. Okay, an article was written just about I think yesterday from a 247 writer. I can't think of his name at the very moment. Basically saying that Billy's going to be on his hot seat after year one. Including Strickland, if he were to have another down season. And Steve and I were talking about this precast in the sense of, like, look, it may not necessarily be Billy's on the hot seat, but if he has a poor season, Strickland's going to be, his hands are going to have blood on his hands, and he's going to be let go. And so if the new guy comes in, are they going to want to take their, a risk in their job with keeping Billy at the helm? So all these things are very interesting to talk about, but I want to get your thoughts because look, is it a troll? With Billy being over his head? Because I'm doing some digging. I feel like, look, you can make some points, but at the same time, I feel like you like to rile up the fan base a little bit, and I gotta come in and step in and be like, yo, it's easy, okay? Take it easy on us. We'll beat us while we're down.
To be fair, when the hire was announced, I came out in favor of it. I thought it was a good hire. I'm on video saying I think this is a good hire for Florida. Okay. My mind has been changed by what I've seen since he got there, which is nothing. The guy's done nothing. He had a worse start to his SEC record than any Florida head coach since the 70s. What, 1-4 or whatever it was. The recruiting is no better than Dan Mullen, and that's the sole reason Mullen was ran out of town. And then you've got the Jaden Rashada thing. And look, I understand that there's a separation between coaches and collectives and blah, 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 blah. But we're not living in fantasy land. We're living in real land here. If you think the collective doesn't know which players the coaches want and that the coaches don't know how much money is being promised by the collective to the players, it's just not true. So, and even if it is, even if Billy didn't know anything about it, it's such a bad look. It's just a terrible. I mean, y'all were the laughing stock of college football for a month.
Sure.
Over the Jay Rashada thing. And losing that one player in and of itself doesn't make or break a program. It's the way it looked. It's just, some of the losses he had. I mean, losing to Vandy, another performance in the bowl game where you don't even try. I mean, this was Dan Mullen versus Oklahoma all over again. This year with Oregon State. You go out, you try to get Grayson McCall. He'd rather stay at Coastal Carolina than go there. Wow.
Okay, all right. Let me go.
Bring in Graham Mertz, who's the sole reason.
Whoa. Okay, go ahead.
Wisconsin is hiring. Graham Mertz is the reason Luke Fickell now works at Wisconsin. The guy is horrible.
Okay.
He's terrible.
All right, here we go.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
This is what we got going. So recruiting, I disagree with that Mullen recruited, or that Billy is recruiting worse than Mullen thus far. The value of player is better what was been brought in thus far. That is a known fact. Yes, were they finished? Sure. And the Rashada situation had a part to do with that because our rankings dropped. The portal obviously adds a little bit of a factor. Mullen didn't have much with the portal situation, so it's hard to compare those two things. I think you can have not a lackluster class, but you can fill holes quickly, a little bit better. You don't have to go out there and overstretch yourself in recruiting because of what's available in the portal. Outside of that, the value of player that came in versus what Mullen brought in is much better. So with 1 year, I can't say that Mullen's recruiting better. And I think on top of what we've already done in 2024, I think already puts that to shame with getting a top-tier quarterback, with getting a top-tier running back.
You don't have a top-tier quarterback for 24.
DJ Lagway?
And you don't have him.
Well, okay, so
you had Jalen Rashada. You don't have anybody for 2024. You've got nobody.
I understand what you're saying. Yes, he hasn't signed. Nobody. Sure, he hasn't signed. But
4-8, then Lagway what?
But if we're comparing to what Mullen didn't even have a verbal at this point. That is what if we're comparing the two coaches, which is what you brought up. Mullen didn't even have a guy saying, "Yeah, I'm coming over." So that I'll take that. I understand what you're saying. Yes, anything can happen, but at least we're making steps in the right direction. And after a 6-7 season, and an embarrassing showing in the bowl game, to pull up some top tier players thus far, and a Chauncey Bowens who Kirby has been flying his fancy helicopter to see twice a week and take him out to lunch.
Can you educate your viewers, because they get mad if I will do it? But this human potato that says we've already signed DJ Lagway. Can you educate him?
No, he has not signed with us. He can't sign until December. That is a fact. He has verbally committed, but no player can sign until December 21st or 2nd, whatever that day is. And then if they don't sign on that day, they can sign later on. But
uncommit, decommit, recommit, flip to this team, that team, all that kind of. That's why I stopped following recruiting.
He's not verbally
paying attention to recruiting the minute the SEC championship game ends every year. Then I say, okay, who are we targeting? Who's this guy? Who's that guy? Now you can't help but hear about some of the bigger names all year long. Like, so of course, I knew about Arch Manning last year and stuff like that. But following like the day to day, I used to do that, and it just, boy, it takes a special kind of person to be able to follow recruiting on a day to day basis. It drove me up the friggin' wall.
Sure, but I think why they're saying with DJ Lagway is his commitment to Florida thus far has been over and beyond what any other commit we've seen from Billy camp thus far. I mean, the guy's already visited multiple times. He's actively recruiting.
That's great. We're now talking about things that are going to matter in 2025.
Sure, yeah. I'm answering your questions. We got a little.
Billy may not be around then,
and that's where we're gonna get. We're gonna get into that in a minute too. So, again, for recruiting aspect, now to his season. Yes, it was a rough season, and this is why I've spoke with a lot of Gator fans, because if you look at his resume and his season in a nutshell, it's brutal. You lost to all your rivals and to Vandy, which Kirby did too, but no need to I'm sure you already know that. Yeah, that always gets reminded of it.
On homecoming.
Yeah.
On homecoming.
And so look, and I'm not making excuses, just spitting facts. Every one of those games are very winnable. That is a fact. They were all, even the Georgia game was close. We had an opportunity. It wasn't like we got blown out. Doesn't make it any easier, but we were in it. Number one. Number two, Tennessee, which you and I just got finished talking about, had the year of its life we've ever seen in the last 20 years. Number one. Georgia obviously was Georgia. LSU found a hot spot. Should have been in the playoff, but they choked. Okay. Kentucky at that time was him. I mean, they were destined to go 11-1 if they didn't just Kentucky. You know what I mean? Right. So, and again, those big games in Florida State, same thing. Florida State finally found a rhythm after being our little brother for the last 5 years. And I'm not making excuses, but when we basically Florida as a fan, from what coaching and what we've done over the last 5 years, basically just limping along, it's going to catch up to us, and it finally did. And it happened to happen on Billy's first year, where he's got to come in and get things figured out. So I get where you're coming from. When you look at it from way back here and say, yeah, like, you lost all those games, did you suck? Well, no, yes, but when you really look at it, it wasn't as, in my opinion, it's not as bad as it looks. To the quarterback situation that you addressed, okay? Graham Mertz. I did some digging. I did some research, because who you guys got coming in, okay? You got Carson Beck, a.k.a. Sid from the Ice Age, okay? That is number one option, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or is it going to be, who was the other kid's name? Gunnar Stockton. Is that the guy?
He's well, you got Carson Beck. He's going into his fourth year.
Yep.
Brock Vandergriff going into his third year. Gunnar Stockton going into his second year.
Okay, so Gunner's probably even further lower than that. The other guy's the second guy's a 5-star, right?
Well, depending on the service you look at, Brock Vandergriff is a 5-star for sure. Carson Beck was mostly a 4-star, and I think Gunnar Stockton was mostly a 4-star as well. Yes,
it was the guy that I didn't mention that he was. I knew you had a 5-star on staff. So I only looked up the other two. I didn't look up your 5-star, okay? Now, Graham Mertz, you said that Luke Fickell's there because of Graham Mertz. We're not even going to get into the play calling. I think Bobo was the offensive coordinator at Wisconsin while Mertz was there, but I won't get into that. Coming out of high school, which, again, doesn't really matter, but we're just comparing apples to potatoes here, all right? Stockton was ranked 124th nationally, okay? And Sid, a.k.a. Carson Beck, was ranked 250 nationally, while our boy Graham was ranked 65th. Now, the reason I bring that up is because, look, the three of these guys who are more than likely, unless the 5-star comes in, I didn't look. He's obviously was probably higher rated than Graham if he's a 5-star. Graham has the most experience in those two guys we just mentioned. Now, didn't have the best
Graham has got a ton of experience. Yeah, which is why everybody knows how terrible he is.
I mean, have you watched his film though, Lou, or are you just going off of stats? So would you?
First of all, when people say, "Have you watched the film?"
I don't
believe you've ever watched any film either. So,
have you watched? Have you watched a game?
I've watched Graham Mertz play at Wisconsin. Yes.
Okay.
And you can also look up his touchdown interception ratio, which looks remarkably similar
to Anthony Richardson.
Your cousin, Anthony Richardson. Yes.
Yes.
And what was Anthony Richardson nationally ranked coming out of high school? I'd love to know.
Way low. Ooh. Way low.
low.
Do you look it up?
I thought everybody wanted him.
No. He was a low 4-star.
Okay. What about Emily Jones?
So real quick though, Anthony Richardson also is going to be a top 10 draft pick. Stetson Bennett is not. But I'm not saying it's the right move.
Yeah. Tim Tebow can't complete a pass in the NFL. Do you care?
He was ranked 204th nationally.
Do you care that Tim Tebow can't complete a pass in the NFL?
Tim Tebow got completely disrespected in the NFL. He would, and in this day and age in the NFL, he would be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Won 2 titles at Florida. Do you care that he can't play in the NFL?
Oh, I mean, a little bit. Yeah, I'm a little upset about that. But I understand what you're saying. Like, it doesn't matter because he won my team a national championship. I understand. Look, I'm a team of the mailman, Stetson Bennett. I'm a fan. So I'm not taking shots at Stetson Bennett. I'm just saying that you took a shot at Graham Mertz. But what you got coming in, I wouldn't be completely just like, hey, we're going to be okay. Because you got a new offensive coordinator in, which we just talked about, right? On top of a new guy at the helm. We're going to figure out pretty quickly if the mailman was really him, or if Kirby's got things going on, or if Monken was the guy. Right? It could turn fiery really quickly for Georgia. And I get that's why
But here's my point. No matter who my offensive coordinator is, I'd much rather him have the ability to pick between Carson Beck, Brock Vandagriff, and Gunnar Stockton than Graham Mertz in a blown out flip flop.
Off of what though? Because all you have. Hold on, let me go. No,
Graham Mertz shit the bed for 2 years, bro. He is horrible, my dude.
But the other guys, you have nothing. You have nothing from the other guys. All you have.
There's no way you think Graham Mertz is a competent quarterback, sir. There is no way. The Homer
Here's what I do know. Here's what I do know.
Disaster.
Here's what I do know. I trust Billy, and I trust when Billy says that we evaluated.
On what? What do you have other than blind faith to back that statement up that you trust Sunbelt Billy? What?
First of all, don't disrespect my head coach. You can do that on your channel, okay? Not on this channel.
You leave my Sunbelt out of this.
Yeah, look, I trust Billy.
You're going to be like Alabama fans this year. Trust me. You're going to spend half your time yelling this right here. Run the ball, Paul. That's going to be Florida fans this year.
Lou's going to be too. Look,
Graham Mertz dropping back on 3rd and 8. That is the last thing you want to see.
No, so here's
they were doing that last year.
We were yelling it last year, Lou. We were yelling it last year. Look, I think I trust in what Billy's able to do, on what he's been able to, the kids that he's bringing in through recruiting. Okay, with conversations that I have with DJ Lagway, who's 2024, who has signed. Just kidding, right? Again, hey, I asked him, wait, what was your reasoning for coming here? Okay, now you can say that kid doesn't know anything from either because he's just a young high school kid. I disagree, but I know that's where you could go. Okay, and he goes, look, he sat me down. Here's what we went over. I think the Anthony Richardson situation was a unique one. Okay, that it sucks because I felt like we had a Lamborghini, and it looks bad on Billy because look, if this guy goes to the NFL and balls out, we're gonna get a lot. Billy's gonna get a lot of flack. I think it was a weird situation that both guys didn't have enough time, and Anthony was trying to figure stuff out and was kind of in it for himself, not in a negative way, but he saw the writing on the wall. Like, I'm not going to be here forever, and next year I'll probably lose a quarterback competition because I'm not going to fit into this system. Okay, we're going to run the ball. I believe that running is going to be the key to our success next year. What I believe in Graham Mertz is that Billy's going to be able to have a guy that's a system guy that works into that system. He could lose the job to Jack Miller. I don't know. He may not be the guy. And Jack Miller, I agree. Jack.
Y'all are in a world of hurt, dude. Oh my god, that might be the worst Power 5 quarterback I've ever seen. That Jack leg.
Look, Jack. I was a firm believer in Jack, and then I saw the bowl game, and everything kind of just went. My stomach hurt. All right, so I hear you. I agree with you on that. Okay, but what I do believe is if we're 3rd and 5, if I had to choose from what I've seen from watching the Wisconsin games to what Anthony Richardson, what I do love is Anthony's legs and his ability to run. Don't feel like we used them properly last year. But if it's 3rd and 5, I feel with the play calling that Billy will be able to establish on what he did in Louisiana, that Graham Mertz will be able to maximize his potential more than what Anthony did for this system. I know Graham's not going to be the Lord and Savior, even though he is probably going to be the Heisman winner. But I do think that he'll fit into the system better than what Anthony Richardson did. Look, time will tell. I'm sure we'll have you back on, and you'll be yelling and you'll scream for Sunbelt Billy, okay? And we'll have our time. Go ahead.
Because people are saying the same thing in the comment section too, that he doesn't need to come in and be Superman. All he's got to do is be consistent, blah, 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 to help complement the run. Okay, listen to me.
I'm listening.
He played at Wisconsin. All they do
is run the ball.
And he could not complete a pass to his own team. So as good as Florida's running game is, and I like y'all's running backs. I got questions about the offensive line, especially after watching that bowl game, but I do like y'all's running backs. But so y'all don't run the ball as well as Wisconsin. I mean, nobody runs the ball like Wisconsin. I mean, they've got 19 NFL offensive linemen and 2 NFL running backs every single year. Their problem, as long as I've been alive, has been what? Quarterback play. And Luke Fickell shows up and looks around and goes, "Hey, dude, pack your shit, buddy."
You ain't it.
I mean, he did the same thing Dion did. It just wasn't recorded.
Hey, I'm bringing luggage in his Louis.
Oh,
I Wisconsin.
Absolutely shocked. In fact, I think Jack Miller has a better chance of being a good quarterback in the SEC than Graham Mertz does. At least Jack Miller's got room to develop. Graham Mertz has been developed for 3 years. Can't complete a pass in college. With Jack Miller, at least maybe there's hope he could potentially get better. But I know what Graham Mertz is. I've seen it for 2 years, and it's not any good.
I don't believe that the Wisconsin running back room was. I agree with you. They've and for their history, that's usually what they're known for, is running the ball. I don't believe their 2 years with Mertz there was the case. I could be wrong, but
yeah, Braylon Allen or whatever his name is, the guy's got 2,000 yards.
I mean, you run the ball 30 times, you're bound to get 2,000 yards. Look, I believe. Look, and so to answer your question, I don't believe Billy is over his head. I think the fact that this article is being written that he's on the hot seat after 1 year is a bit dramatic. I really do.
No, he's not getting fired this year. I'm not even willing to say that he's not getting fired. No, I do.
Yeah,
think
I saw that article and I was like, that's insanity to me. Like that's way too soon.
Something off the field related. Yeah, it would have to be something weird like the McElwain situation where he made up a fake death threat, or it would have to be something really weird. It couldn't be. I mean, Florida could go 4-8. He's not getting fired. But
sure.
Next year, next year maybe, but not this year. And you make an interesting point that I didn't think of about the athletic director situation at Florida. You know, for a long time, Florida had the best athletic director in all of college sports. What was his name? I'm drawing a blank now, but
Jeremy Foley.
Jeremy Foley. Yeah, he was the best athletic director in the country. I don't know who y'all got down there now, but he's not making anybody happy. He's driven the basketball program into the ground. The football team can't win more than 8 games a year. And you make an interesting point. If he gets fired and a new athletic director comes in, the one thing an athletic director wants to do is handpick the football coach. That's going to put a lot of pressure next year on Billy Napier if, like you mentioned, that athletic director ends up getting fired before the 2024 season. That's something I hadn't even thought of. Now, if Billy Napier goes out and wins 9+ games this year, then all this is off the table.
Sure.
He's not, you can forget it. But if he wins anywhere between 5 and 7 games this year, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him next year.
And for those people that I know that's going to kind of rile people up of like, why does the AD matter with the head coach? It's just like a business. The AD is basically a new CEO that's going to be coming in. So they're going to take a look at their sales managers first, and that's Billy. And if things aren't running like he should be, Billy's not his guy. So Billy's going to be the first that gets his head chopped, and they're going to move on because he's coming in. The reason why the new guy's coming in is to fix things. And he can't have a first bad year either. So, like you said, if it is a 6-7 or 4-8, and we get a new athletic director, then yeah, that's where I would be concerned. But to call for Billy's head, there's no way he's going to go anywhere after 4-8. Now, if he goes 4-8, that's where Strickland's job is going to come into place because they're going to be like, okay, well, it looks like you made another bad hire. We're going to let Billy go one more year, but you seem to drop the ball. With basketball seems to be doing too hot, which we should be. And Mike White's doing pretty well in Georgia. Okay. And now we've got Billy coming here going 6-7 and now 4-8. What's going on? I don't think we go 4-8. That's my thought on it. I think correct me if I'm wrong here. Lou, because I mean, we were going back and forth about this where we were on a call-in show, had a bunch of Gator guys calling in, and I said 10-2. That's me being extremely optimistic. I'm fully aware of that, right? College football, in my opinion, is year to year because of what just happened with Georgia. You lost your offensive coordinator, quarterback, and everything right now is like, what's going to happen? You could very well go 8-4 next year. I know that sounds crazy because of what you've been able to do the last few years, but it's not as far off as what it may sound like, right? So I said the Florida-Georgia game is 50-50. As of now, would you say that it is 50-50? Or am I just being too much of a fan on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it at 50-50 just because of the overwhelming talent advantage that Georgia would have no matter who the coaches are. But whatever the percentage was of Georgia doing anything next year, in my opinion, is lower today than it was yesterday.
Okay.
Like, even if Bobo is good, he's not Monken. I think Todd Monken, was the best offensive coordinator Georgia ever had, and I don't think best evers are easily replaced the next season. If you've got a quarterback that ends up being the best quarterback you've ever had, it's not likely that the next quarterback is going to be that good. There's a reason whoever you had was the best ever. It's because it's not, most people aren't that good. That's why. So Georgia's a little, whatever percentages of anything for Georgia, I would knock them down a little bit, including the Florida game. The problem with Florida going 10-2 is even if you want to look at the Georgia game as a 50-50 game, Florida would have to win a lot of 50-50 games to get to 10-2.
Sure. And look, I think, but in my opinion,
Florida State, Georgia, South Carolina, LSU. I mean, you'd have to, those are
Utah
5 or 6
Utah
right there. Yeah, so you got to win 4 out of those 6 games to go 10-2.
Look. The 10-2 was a very stretch, and how I look at it is game 1 Utah. That game is very important. That game is 50-50 because you're coming into it's the first game of the season. Nobody knows what to expect from either side. The same way it was last year. You win that game, you have McNeese State, no brainer. Then you got Tennessee at home. There's your first 3 games. That Tennessee game, you might, if you believe that you can win that game, all of a sudden you're on a little bit of a burner. You're 3-0. So at that point, right, and I think it's Kentucky after that. You're kind of rolling. Now you're 4-0. Finding 6 wins is not as hard anymore, okay? Because now Mizzou is obviously a lock. I think there's one more cupcake game, so there's 6 games. So now, yes, you have 4 games where you got to win 50-50, and there was 6 games we lost last year that, in my opinion, were 50-50, give or take, that just fell the wrong way. We make some adjustments, fix some things, they can fall the right way. That's all it is. That's all it is. So,
glass always half full in February.
I mean, someone's got to be, Lou. I mean, that's